How's it going, tribe? So today we're going to go over the Pale prototype as well as the Kali prototype. So what exactly is a prototype? A prototype basically means that we're going to use material that's similar to the final product, but we're not actually using the metal molds or the tooling molds that is used to make the final production version. So this is a good way to kind of vet and make sure that all the parts move correctly, everything feels right and looks right. So you'll notice that as we go over each figure that certain plastics are going to be a lot more flexible. So like like the loincloth is a lot more flexible. The hair will be more flexible than something like the arm or the chest. With that being said, prototypes are generally slightly more loose than the production version. So don't worry about the production version being as loose as this one. This is basically just to make sure that everything is working correctly. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get into the articulation and movement. I'm not going to get too technical with what each joint is because I tend to get that incorrect. So I'll just basically demo the movements. So we've got, side to side. And I do want to mention that the first two characters do have like hair that's going to slightly obstruct the movement. Oops. See, there's a little hair can just popped off. So anyway, if I move the hair back, you can kind of see how it's able to go look up and down and everything. Let me see if I can't put that little sideburn back on there real quick. There we go. All right, so that's the head movement. We've got a nice butterfly joint, back and forth on both sides. They can kind of dual wield a weapon pretty easily. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna set that off to the side because it's just not one to stay. We got this bicep movement. We've got our double jointed elbow, which gives you a little bit more than 90 degree there. The arm, the hand, our wrist movement. Now I do want to note that I already spoke to the project manager, and all of these right hands that are a gripping hand is going to become vertical instead of horizontal. The fists will stay horizontal though. All right, so then we have our ab crunch. See, you can hear the ratchet in there, so that way it's going to stay nice and stay into that position, especially in the production version. And then we also have a little bit of hip swivel there. Okay, and then we have our forward motion like that. We've also got our thigh cuts right here, and we have our double jointed knees. So should be able to get a nice kneeling pose, no problem. Okay. Oh, sorry, I almost forgot the. I call these ankle rockers. If that's not what they're called, I apologize. But you can see how his greaves will flex so that you can kind of get that back and forth movement. All right, so I got to put this sideburn back in. It's driving me nuts. Let's see here. This will obviously be glued on the production version. And we'll be getting samples of the actual, they're called test shots, which is just plain colored, or sometimes it's a mix of colors using the metal mold. So whenever we get updates, we'll be doing a similar demo to this, but it'll be a little less delicate. It'll basically be an uncolored production version. I do also want to note that we caught the hand grips are a little too loose. So you'll see that they are a little loose in this demo, but we're already aware of it and we're already adjusting it. And the last thing that I want to make a note of is these prototypes are missing their little foot plugs, so they will have those foot plugs. Let's see here. You know what? Let me get another figure. I'm gonna kind of show up the articulation. So let me get another figure and we'll come right back. All right, so I know you guys are gonna wanna see how these figures scale in your current collections. So we're gonna start off with one of my favorites, the Moto Classic Skeletor. This is actually everything that you're going to be seeing is actually from my personal collection. So Skeletor is definitely one of my prized possessions. And then we're going to go on to a classified Snake Eyes. I can't tell which one is my favorite as far as the two versions of Snake Eyes that are out right now, but you can kind of see that Pale's obviously taller than this human character. Okay, from there, we're gonna go to another prized figure. My Mythic Legions, not Trapjaw, I can't remember what his name is, but he looks like he's slightly taller. It's kind of hard to tell because Pale's slouching a little bit, but I do know that this helmet fits on some of the other characters. So you can check that out when you get them in your collection. And my personal favorite Marvel superhero, Captain America. I don't know if he's gonna stand up. Let's see here. There we go. So Pale's slightly taller than him. A couple of inches is if they were actually real life figures. All right, and then I mean we can't do a cool looking anthropomorphic character comparison without putting him next to Lion-O from Thundercats. So it looks like Lion-O is a little bit taller if you could include his hair. So you can kind of see how they'll pair nicely together. Should look great on your shelf. All right, so now we're gonna move on to Kali. I kind of want to show off. People have been asking how flexible the cape is. You can see it's pretty darn flexible. The hair is not quite as flexible, so that is gonna slightly affect how much you can look up. Now, you can offset that by, simply tilting the torso. There's two torso bins that we had mentioned. All right, so we got our nice butterfly joints, so you can dual wield stuff. We got our bicep swivel. Again, we have more than 90 degrees. This is going to be vertical. Got our horizontal. I do want to show that this little decoration does slightly affect how much you can lift it up. It's not that bad. Okay, then we got our this one actually doesn't have the ratchet. It is a prototype, so but the final version will. We got our flexi skirt so you can see his briefs. We have our thigh swivel. We got our double jointed knees. And we have our ankle swivel. So this one you can tell, oh look, they do have they have a little right and left and everything on there, so the factory won't mix up when they're doing the construction. All right, I do want to note that this one is a little bit looser than Pale, so I'm having a little bit of trouble posing him. But I'm gonna go ahead and do some static photos of them holding the weapons, and that will be coming up next. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and put some of the other characters in your possible collections. Again, we have Lion-O. Let's see here. Kali's really slouching here. Let's see. Can't get him to stand up a little bit more straight. Okay. Switch him out for Skeletor.
Take that, He-Man.
And then we'll go ahead and throw in this guy. I feel like this guy could just work perfectly as a creature, a henchman for Kali. All right, so we're gonna move on to some static images of them holding their accessories. So you guys had answered or asked a couple of questions on the previous update that I wanted to go ahead and address. Okay, the first question is, how regular will the waves be coming out, and when is the next Chunky Boy? Which I'm assuming that means the next Savage class. So the plan right now is to offer a new wave twice a year. And we'll be offering the 2.5 wave or Primal Battle wave in the autumn of this year, 2022. For those of you who are watching this 5 years from now. And then we'll be offering wave 3, which we haven't come up with a name yet, but it's the wave with Mala. It might become the Mala wave for the time being. We'll be offering that in early spring of 2023. And then we'll be offering a Savage class in wave 4, and I'll announce which figure that is when we get closer to that time. Okay, the next question or comment said, I wish there was a little bit more height and variety of the figures. And I totally agree with you. Offering varying heights and body types in this figure line is super important to me. So it's one of my priorities. And I'm not sure if the person that commented this noticed, but we did reveal female figures who are slightly shorter than these standard male figures. And we also introduced a rabbit figure and a smaller ape figure. So right now we're gonna have our big giant hulked out figure, which is Thane, our standard figures, which Pale and Kali are in. And then we're gonna start having smaller figures. I'd like to offer like a dwarf size and like a plus size as well. And we will be doing those in the future. All right, it says, his comment says, I like your designs. Any chance we can get a single weapon pack of 6 shields and 6 spears in a pack? For army builders, also, are you getting new weapon packs for wave 2.5 and 3? I actually think that's a great idea. I hadn't really thought about it. So what we might do is kind of test the waters and offer maybe 3 shields and 3 spears / swords to kind of see what kind of customer demand there is for that. And we are going to be offering weapon packs for each wave. And I'm thinking about offering armor packs as well. And we're going to be offering head packs. So there's a lot of customizing potential to where you can, make your own character from the figures that we have and give your army builders a little bit of a variety and personality. All right. This is from the same person. Also, is there multiple head packs? I actually just answered that. Let's see here. Since there are females in wave 3, could we have 3 different heads in a pack? Yeah, I mean, we're basically going to kind of show off all that stuff as we get a little bit closer to putting those up for pre-order. We just didn't want to show off too much stuff like right out the gate, since it is more than 6 months away. But we'll be revealing all that kind of stuff as we get closer to the pre-orders. All right, the next person says, I'm hoping for as many canine family figures as possible. Wolves, foxes, any different colors, and something like an African wild dog would be incredible. So you mentioned the African wild dog, and while it's not an African wild dog, we did show off our first canine character, which is a hyena, and that will be in wave 3. House of Fangtorn's a very important house. They're closely associated with House Horrid, and they are a canine kingdom, so you'll be seeing lots of different kind of foxes and wolves and some other different kind of canine characters. So I think you'll be very happy to see what we have in store. All right, let's see. I guess I'd like to ask what the reason for all the mismatch and different colored armor pieces were in wave 2. They actually mean wave 2.5, and we were all kind of talking about how we could avoid confusion. So we're going to start calling waves 1 and 2 the Kickstarter wave. Wave 2.5 we're going to start referring to as the Primal Battle wave, and we'll go so on as we go into the future. We'll start naming the waves, that way it's a little less confusing. So there is a specific reason why there's mismatched armor in the Primal Battle wave, but I don't want to spoil it for you because it's going to be part of a plot point in issue 2 of the comic book. So once the comic book's been out for a little while, you guys will see exactly why they have mismatched armor in that wave. All right, let's see here. So when can we expect updates? Thanks. Thank you for asking this question. I got a little bit of pushback for not updating the Kickstarter as frequently as I do on Instagram and Facebook. And if you're not on Instagram or not following us on Instagram, I encourage you to follow us at Spiro Toys. So my reasoning behind that was, for the Kickstarter, I wanted it to be almost an archival resource for showing the updates on the actual progress as we go. I wanted it to be easier to kind of go back, maybe 3 or 4 years now, to be like, I wonder how long it took them to get to this stage or that stage, and they'll easily be able to go through and look it up. And so that's kind of my reasoning about why we're not updating that quite as much. Another factor was we had that long lull for the Chinese New Year, which I'm not sure how everyone is familiar with it or how familiar they are. When the workers have Chinese New Year, they basically have 2 weeks to travel home, and they get to stay home for 2 weeks, and then they're allotted another 2 weeks to get back home. So that's a lot of downtime on our end. So there was a little bit of stretch where we weren't able to show much of an update. Everyone's back there now, and we're rolling and doing well. So I just kind of wanted to let you guys know why there was a little bit of lull in updates. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and make sure to share it and kind of help us spread the word. Thank you so much.